Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Bob Dole.
Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, Mrs. Pence, and Vice President Quayle's floating around somewhere. We're honored by your presence, and we thank you very much for being here. I want to thank all those who have said such kind words about me. They're probably not true, but they were nice. Mr. Speaker, I'm extremely honored to accept this great honor. And I thank you for presenting it to me. I also wish to thank all the speakers who've been up here and said such kind words. And I also want to thank my colleagues, for without them, nothing would have been accomplished. And I also want to thank my staff and all the staff that may be around. I've always said that you're no better than your staff. And I thank them for all they've done for me over the years. Mr. Speaker, I yield the balance of my time to this distinguished gentlewoman from North Carolina. Yeah, my shoe's coming off.
And what a privilege it is to speak for the man I love with all my heart. I am so proud of you, Bob. I once called myself the most optimistic man in America. Maybe that comes from taking the long view. It's amazing that almost 60 years have passed since my neighbors in Russell, Kansas, and the voters of what we call the Big First District sent me to this esteemed institution. I arrived in Washington as green as a Kansas wheat field in May. Fortunately, I had some marvelous mentors, both Republicans and Democrats, to help guide me through the legislative maze. In the House, statesmen like Jerry Ford and Charlie Halleck. And in the Senate, giants like Everett Dirksen, Howard Baker, Hubert Humphrey, and George McGovern all showed me a decency and dedication that transcended any party or generational differences. It was Ev Dirksen who famously observed, "I am a man of fixed and unbending principles, and one of my principles is flexibility." Put another way, even conviction politicians accept the need for compromise from time to time. This is how the American Republic was built. And we remain a nation defined by our diversity, a coat of many colors, and a healthy respect for those with whom we may agree to disagree. For many years, I occupied a suite of offices in the Capitol just down the hall. S-230 is an impressive setting any way you look at it, but it's the view from S-230 that sets it apart. Sweeping down Capitol Hill, past General Grant on his bronze horse, to George Washington's obelisk and the marble shrine to Abraham Lincoln. Since 2004, that view has included a memorial, which I am truly proud to have championed. A fitting tribute to the 16 million citizen warriors of World War II and those on the home front who aided them in preserving civilization in its darkest hour. The view from S-230 extends still further to the hills of Arlington. The countless heroes who rest there in soil hallowed by their service practiced many faiths, spoke in many tongues, but this much they had in common. Patriots before partisans. They put country before self. They gave everything for generations they would never see to uphold the freedoms that make life itself worth living. It's a long way from S-230 to the slopes of Arlington, but nowhere near as long as the view they took of their obligations to posterity and to the defense of values that shine as bright as the gold in any medal. So I share with you a lesson learned over 60 years. Leadership begins with the long view. Thank you.